Right now, KeysDAN is going to give us our game and fish update with Trey Reid. Keys, this is your show, buddy.
Hey, this is KeysDAN here in the Acme Brick Studios in Little Rock, Arkansas. And every Wednesday, as always, you hear the music. We invite Trey Reid from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission to come in. Now, just a reminder, this is sponsored, as always, by the Razorback camper sales out there in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The summer sale-a-thon. No, the summer celebration is going on now at Razorback Camper Sales in Hot Springs. These are the lowest prices of the year, and they will do whatever it takes to get you in a new or used Traver trailer, fifth wheel, pop-up. That's exit 1 off the bypass in Hot Springs, or view their entire inventory at razorbackcampersales.com. Go see why Arkansas's oldest RV dealership has become Arkansas's #1 RV dealership. Go see Kyle Johnson and tell him he's the man. Tell him Game On sent you. Hey, once again, we have on the phone this time Trey Reid from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Trey, game on.
Dan, what's up, man? I think we need to run over there to Razorback Camper Sales, pick up an RV, and head down to the Keys and go to Bahia Honda State Park and go do some fishing that you know about.
Now you are playing my song, because Bahia Honda has some of the best camping on one side of the bridge, and let's see, one side of the bridge you have the beach and the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just gorgeous. They have little huts that you can go and barbecue if you want, but on the other side, yeah, you take your stuff from Razorback Camper Sales in Hot Springs, and you take it over to the other side of the beach, and you can camp right there, right next to the old railroad tracks where the Gold Coast Railroad used to be. I guess you've been down there then.
I have, man. I was down there. I went down to the Key. Oh, gosh, I don't even want to say how long ago it was, because I'll be dating myself. But I read somewhere that it was just rated almost annually as one of the 10 most beautiful public beaches in the country, and I would certainly agree with that. And as you well know, the fishing's good there. But it's good here in Arkansas too. So what are we gonna match them up? Gonna go head to head and see what's best today?
Now, what's familiar to me, being from the Florida Keys and, Miami, South Florida, and the Florida Keys, I know deep sea fishing. I've had the same Shimano 4500 reel and the same black ugly stick that I've had since I was a kid, and that's my favorite rig. I do have some other rods and reels, some yo-yos and what have you, but that is my favorite rig, because deep sea fishing, being a whole lot less work than lake fishing, all I do is get out of my boat, drop anchor or drift, put the pole out in the water with some bait, maybe some mullet, maybe a little shrimp, and have a sandwich and a Pepsi. And that's it. That's fishing. The line's in the water. As soon as you see it tug, hey, go for the rod.
Well, and it really depends on the type of fishing you're doing inland here in Arkansas, lake fishing or even river fishing. But there are actually a couple of types here in Arkansas that aren't too dissimilar from that type of fishing. Number one, catfish comes to mind. I was talking about that on the show a couple of weeks ago. We make a trip for our television show Talking Outdoors every year over to the Mississippi River and fish out of West Helena there. And essentially, that's basically what you're doing. The same style you're talking about. You get in the boat. You're floating down the Mississippi River. Now, you do use a trolling motor to sort of control the speed of your drift, especially the other day when we were over there, because the Mississippi River was pretty high and a lot of flow for this time of year. Typically summertime it's low, but it was high and fast the other day. So that trolling motor, but again, you're drifting down, and you drop your weighted line out with some kind of cut bait, natural dead bait like you're talking about, and you just float down until you feel that strike, and then try to pull that big catfish in. Another fish that we have here in Arkansas, Dan, actually, it's an androgynous fish. It spends part of its life at sea and part of it in fresh water. Of course, we've got landlocked striped bass in many lakes here in Arkansas. Lake Ouachita and Lake Norfolk are two of the most popular striped bass fisheries. Also, there's a naturally reproducing population in the Arkansas River. Now, the Game and Fish Commission stocks striped bass. So, essentially, I tell people if you want that deep sea fishing, saltwater experience without leaving the natural state, go up to Lake Norfolk or go over to Lake Ouachita and try to catch some striped bass. I mean, our state record is over 64 pounds. So that's a lot like it's the thrill of deep sea fishing without leaving home.
Now, I know when I was in the Florida Keys, and I did not need a license when I was fishing off the bridges, but I did when I was on the boats. What's the similar licensing here in Arkansas?
Repeat that again, Dan. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you quite.
No problem. When I was in Florida, our fishing license, we didn't need a fishing license to fish off the bridges into the water, but we did need a fishing license to fish off of boats. What are the licensing requirements here?
Well, pretty much, if you're going to fish in Arkansas, you're going to need an Arkansas fishing license. Even if you're on private land, your own little private pond on your farm or something, you still need a fishing license. But hey, man, $10.50 for a year's worth of fishing, you can't beat it. It's cheap fun.
No, that's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Now, okay, going back to camping. I'm a guy that will go and get myself a camper because I'm lazy. I got my eye on this fifth wheel. But tell me about the best places to camp here in Arkansas.
Oh,
right
man.
Now. right now, in the heat.
It's a near infinite list. We are blessed with a lot of public land here in Arkansas. And, if you're looking to get away, go to the lake, I would certainly recommend Lake Ouachita. There are numerous U.S. Army Corps of Engineer campgrounds all around the lake. And essentially the entire lake is surrounded by the Ouachita National Forest. So you're going to have some of those, some of the amenities that you might want at a campground, and yet you're not very far from, this gorgeous body of water and a lot of natural wild land all around you. There's some great core campsites on the Arkansas River if flowing water is more your thing. The Ozark St. Francis National Forest has some fantastic campsites. Most of our Arkansas Game and Fish Commission wildlife management areas have campsites as well. Now, they're going to be primitive. We don't have electrical hookup and water and that sort of thing. So, bring your generator, or if you're fortunate enough to have some kind of solar-powered camping vessel, which they're out there, believe it or not. You're not going to have electrical hookups at our areas, but we do have some beautiful areas around the state where you can camp on many of our wildlife management areas. And again, it's lots of federally owned and state-owned land, and just pull out one of our Arkansas atlases, and we've got a whole list in the front of that thing of great campsites. I mean, really, like a dozen pages of different campsites and boat ramps and things like that.
And what is that website for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission?
AGFC.com.
AGFC, that's the first initials, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Hey, some of my friends are out there floating the rivers. What is your favorite? Have you done any floating this season? I am blessed to have a weekend off. I have Saturday and Sunday off. I think I want to float on a river. What river should I float on?
Oh, man. Again, it's just like kind of pick your poison. One thing to kind of keep in mind we're getting into a time of year where it's pretty tough to float because these obviously there's the Buffalo River comes to mind, and I was just up there in that part of the country just last Friday and saw a bunch of boats down on one of the gravel bars. So I think some of the outfitters are still renting canoes and running float trips. Now you're probably going to be in a situation where you're going to have to get out of the boat and drag it over some of the shallow shoals right now. But the Buffalo River, especially the lower Buffalo, like from Buffalo Point, Rush, and that area, basically Highway 65 and downstream from there, still probably have a few floating opportunities. That's probably going to be your best bet. And of course, the Buffalo is back in the early 70s was designated the first national river in the country for good reason. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion. And the thing is, Dan, don't put too many quote unquote Pepsis in your ice chest because you don't want to weigh the boat down because you may be dragging it some.
Well, I may weigh the boat down myself. I actually was up 65 heading towards. I went to Harrison to visit up with some cousins up there, and I did notice on the Buffalo River, at least I was on the banks there, and I saw some canoes that were priming up and getting ready to go. So maybe they're still going out this weekend, and I might be able to catch a ride.
Man, you can do it. It would be a great time. I mean, I think it's supposed to warm back up some, but hey, who can complain about this, the temperate weather we've been having for the middle of the summer and this rain we've had the last several days over the past week or so will help the floating conditions on the Buffalo and other streams. All
right, Trey Reid, thank you so much. Hey, make sure that the listeners go out and follow him on Twitter at Trey Reid 1, R-E-I-D. Thank you so much, Trey, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, for joining us on the phone. I know you got a busy schedule, or else you would have made it here.
You bet, Dan. Hey, it was always my pleasure, and I look forward to talking about some more fishing and stuff next week, buddy.
Well, yippee-ki-yay. That's Trey Reid, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And as usual, every Wednesday, about 1:30 here on Game On, make sure you go to Razorback Camper Sales out there in Hot Springs. Get on the road this year with Razorback Camper Sales, Arkansas's oldest RV dealer, 44 years and counting. Like them on Facebook. Give them a call at 501-767-3486. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5:30, and on Saturdays for your convenience, 9 to 3. Go get all your camping supplies at Razorback Camper Sales in Hot Springs. Coming out of this break, we'll send it back up to Steve Weimer of Hog Sports Radio and Mike Irwin of the Razorback Nation. Let's take a break. This is Game On.
I get home.